Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Bricks, and I'm here today with a McDonald's Happy Meal set review. Now the reason why I've included this one with the construction month is because it is a media item that is based on a construction theme, which I've mentioned before I would be doing this month. This is based on the 2006 storyline of Bionicle and was released in the same year, 2006. These include Toa Anika and Piraka as the main heroes and villains respectively in that time period. So these are somewhat playable figures that are based on the actual Bionicle sets. So let's take a closer look at these now. Starting it off, there are 8 of them that were released in this series, and I have 4 of them. That's pretty good for any restaurant toy alone, for me to have about half the collection, and even better just to have most of these for a Lego related Happy Meal toy. There were 4 Toa released, and 3 of them I have here. We have Matoro, Holly, and Matoro. The other Toa was Jalar. And for the Piraka, I only have Radak. The other ones released were Hakan, Zaktan, and Vizon. If you recognize the figures with those, or from some of my other set reviews, then you'll know which ones they could be in their Happy Meal forms. So, I put my sig fig right here to give you a comparison of these figures to a average minifigure. And you can see they're still a kind of small size, but they are larger than minifigures, obviously. And you would think with such a larger size, they probably have some good play value. Well, they are not the exact size to the actual Bionicle figures, which if I put one of these on frame, there we go. Obviously, I don't even have to show you the whole figure, but they don't even compare in height or width to an actual Bionicle figure. Now, I have 2 of these figures already built in their actual Lego forms. We'll get to some of those comparisons later on in the video. But for right now, we'll just focus on these characters from the Happy Meal toy collection. So, start things off. They are a little bit hard to balance. The legs are easy to move. They are on semi-frictioned joints, but they are all, the legs themselves are one large piece. They do not bend at the knees or at the ankle, so it is only one way that the legs can actually position themselves, just as you see them here. You can actually see Nuparo is leaning back a bit, is because his leg section is a little bit more loose. If I pick him up, you can notice how one leg can swing back and forth. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but that is the case with his leg, and can make him hard to pose at some points. You'll also see with a few of these characters that their weapons are all the way to the ground. That's because the weapons are so hefty, because of a couple features we'll mention on later, it was hard for them to keep up in the air. The frictions in the arms don't always hold the weapons up well, especially for their weight. So they the best way that I could try to pose them for you here was to put them on the ground to hold, not only as a way to keep the figure from falling over from the weight of the arm, but also to keep it falling over from the weakness of the legs. So, don't expect much from these Happy Meal toys. I know other ones that do this, whether or not they're related to Lego. We'll do one at a time. We'll start off with Nuparo. So I'll take all these and move them off frame. Nuparo I don't have in the actual Toa form from the Lego sets, so we'll just look at him as he is here. He has a claw that can move back and forth if you want to have him waving. His arm can move like this. Woo! Missed that joke. Or he could be waving. Oh, how are you? I'm going to shoot you with my blaster. See what I mean as far as the weight? Are you saying he has a chubby arm? Well, he does have a chubbier arm than the other one. His head can also move back and forth, and the reason why he has a chubby arm is because he has his weapon in it that lights up. I'll just turn off the lights. we can get this thing to light up. So you just simply hold in the button to let the light work, and when you let go of it, it will stop the light from happening. That's basically what this figure does, and that's also what one of the other figures do. So we'll go to that figure now, since it's the same features. I won't have to bore you with the same details. This one is Holly, and you already saw her before in her actual set form. So in size comparison, it's almost about half the size. Half the height at least. Does this figure have the same details? Yes, they do have the same details all the way down to smaller bits on each of the pieces. They do match for the figure. Color-wise, it looks pretty good, but it could use a little bit more white to make it more accurate. The mask looks the same. This part is not the same, since on Toa Holly you can see it has a larger base to it. And as far as the weapons, they look close enough to me. They both have the same feature with that weapon, and that is to light up. It's the same kind of light. So I'll just turn off the light. I'll turn off the light to turn on the light. There we go, got a nice red, and that's all that we can do with this character. Still moves its head around, moves the arms back and forth, and move the legs a bit. But as far as authenticity to the actual figure, I really like it. It, covers all the details very well. Next up, since I have the figure here and going along with light features, we will introduce Redak, the only Piraka that I have. Now, as you can see with him, his weapon is down, and most of his body just leaned down, just again for sustaining his stance. I mean, I don't know how to phrase it properly, but basically so that he can, hold his weight. Here we have the figure itself, and a look between them quickly. So they do have some of the main parts. Most of the same colors. You can actually see for the clawed feet on this one. It's not gold the way it is on the actual figure. And there are a little bit less grays showing as there are in the actual figure. Since it's a Happy Meal toy, they usually, are very minimalistic on colors. And not really doing all of them, but they try to get some of the main ones. Now, what's interesting about this figure, he has more features than some of the other ones. When you press on his arm, he has this little saw blade that actually spins as you press it. So you can continuously press this to get the effect of a saw blade continuously spinning. Here's a look at him from the back. Move out of the way, big guy. Here's a look at him from the back. It's a little flexible back here, but not really intended to move. And this figure also has two features in his face. One of them, and actually both of them, are corresponding with the actual figure. They have glow-in-the-dark teeth, and they have light-up eyes. There's a little translucent piece on the top of its head, and when you shine light through it, you'll get the eyes to glow. Very cool features, and a little bit more features than some of the other figures in this Happy Meal toy series. He also matches up pretty well as far as authenticity, so I'm not going to complain as far as the grays. It looks pretty good for me. Last up, we have Matoro. I do have this figure built, but I misplaced him for right now, so we'll worry about him a little later. As far as authenticity, I guess I'll just post a picture on Instagram or something. So, what's special about this character? Well, we see this one actually has the launcher in the other hand. He has a sword in this hand, but it doesn't seem to have anything lighting up. He's good with stance. And nothing on his arms are weighing him down. He's okay with the back, but he can't tilt his head. Well, this whole body, you can see the hook on there. It basically acts as a hook shot. I'm not exactly sure how best to describe it, but you can pull this out to a small distance, probably about, looks like about 2.5 inches, might be wrong. You can attach him to a surface and see him climb up the surface. Now, I don't have a formidable surface to add him to. Maybe we could try one of my Maniac for Bricks letters. Or 2 of them. And see if there's something we can make it work. Alright, let me try that again. This time, actually attaching to it. It keeps wanting to pull back as soon as you let go of it, so you really have to pinch on it and try to wrap it around. There we go. We got some climbing action for Matoro. That's the only real feature of him. Otherwise, you just have the arms that move around. So moving the arms around and moving the legs a little bit is kind of a main function for most of these figures, aside from light up stuff or the hook or the saw blade. But they look pretty good as far as representation. They are very accurate to the figures they're supposed to be. Even Matoro, I didn't check for his authenticity, but he's mostly just like that. I mean, there are more gray on him, but it's mostly covered with white, so I think it works well. I think these figures are done really well, except for their stance, because they do have a tendency to fall over, but they're still good compared to 2007. We'll get into those reviews a little bit later on. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time with more LEGO set reviews.